welcome back to my channel. I recently asked you guys to send me your best and worst Star Stable experiences, and I pretty much told you to tell me the first thing that came to your head. So these responses were pretty all over the place. The sky is the limit. I'm gonna train my lovely mule Scar here because surprisingly I haven't finished training my mules yet, which is unusual because I'm deranged. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna try to alternate between best and worst. The first submission is from Dracula. It says, my least favorite experience is archaeology, but I'm such a completionist, so it must be finished. Okay, that's so real. I'm the exact same way. I absolutely lose my marbles if I don't have everything completed, and it is so tedious. I'm not even going to lie, but I did really enjoy it at times when I was really bored and I could just watch a movie or listen to a podcast, and it was much more entertaining. But it is very painful to finish, especially the Dino Valley. While I do love Dino Valley and being there, the odds of getting the rare bones, for example the pink bones, they just refuse to spawn, and it would drive me insane. The next one is from Ileana_eventing8, and it says, my favorite SSO experience was unlocking areas like Golden Hills Valley and Epona. I specifically remember unlocking Golden Hills Valley because it was so mysterious unlocking the gate. I would really love to pull up an old clip of this and insert it in the video if I can find it. It was so cool. The whole Golden Hills Valley quest line, there were so many interesting things that happened there with 𝑃 the Witch and Forest. Everything was very mysterious and really fit in with the vibe of the whole game. Oh, wow, okay. And Epona, in all honesty, I don't even remember unlocking Epona. I don't know why. I must have erased it from my memory somehow. I just feel like one day it came out and I just entered it. Maybe it was because I was already the level required to unlock it whenever it came out. The next one is from Kata Sweetkin, and it says, when you come across Elizabeth Sunbeam's house after finishing the story quest, this was so sad because they just left her house and she's no longer standing there. It was rough. The next one says, my favorite story was me attempting to buy the Mega Shire on April Fool's. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about this. This was so funny and such a unique experience. Only the OGs remember this. Why can I not jump? Oh my goodness. I'm definitely inserting a picture of this so you guys can see it if you were around back then. And even just all the old April Fool's pranks, I really wish they would bring that back, including the car stable prank. That one was iconic. I remember logging on almost the entire day when that happened. They could do so many other fun little pranks like that for April Fool's, even if it's on a smaller scale. The next one says, my least favorite experience was me getting kicked out of a club because I went on holiday without telling them. Oh no! I feel like some clubs are so strict on attendance, which is totally understandable if somebody plans something far in advance and then people say they can come and don't end up being able to attend. I can totally see the frustration there. The fact that they kicked you out for one mistake is very sad. I'm so sorry. The next one is from Phoenix Starcrest, and it says, joining clubs, pink girls, I love you guys. I love this. I totally agree. I feel like with clubs, it's always either a really amazing experience or a really traumatizing one. I'm so glad that you were able to find one that fits for you and that you're able to find some really good friends in. I really do feel that it really changes this game for the better. The fact that you're able to kind of build your own community, that's something I've always loved about this game. And I really don't even know if I would be be playing it nearly as frequently if I didn't have friends and people that I played with. Okay, this next one is long. It says, so basically I was going to a champ and I found this girl. We talked about how we miss the old Star Stable graphics, the team overall, the new horses are quite pretty, but I'm still having some issues getting used to the new characters. And then two girls came up to us and they were saying, y'all are blinded by the nostalgia. At this point, you guys should just quit if you don't like it. And I personally got offended because I paid a lot for the game. I just only talked about how I miss the old graphics and the team, because the old team got literally 250 to 400 star coins codes, but now I use the shaders once I got a new PC and it's quite acceptable. I feel like this has been kind of a relevant concern from the Star Stable player base about missing the old Star Stable and the old team. And I feel like at the end of the day, you're never going to be able to please everyone, but I think it's totally valid for somebody who's paying money to be a part of a game and a community to give feedback on the content that they paid to access. And of course, also people who love the game are going to criticize it because they care, not necessarily just because they're wanting to hate on it. It's mostly just because they want better for the game because they love playing it. But there's definitely a line here, and something that I feel very strongly about is constructive criticism. There's no problem with sharing things that you don't like about the game, but just make sure it's in a kind way and not a hateful way, because I think that's when it can be taken the wrong way and people get really upset or people get flustered and things just kind of go off the rails really quickly. And as someone who played the game without reshade until this year, I totally agree with you on that. That made a huge difference in my playing experience. I've had a lot more fun being able to have all these beautiful presets, but of course that's not achievable for every player because it does require some more heavy duty equipment to process all of these things, and you can't, oh, I just turned the wrong way. And you can't have a Mac computer to run reshade, so that's also a boundary. I still think the game is just as enjoyable without reshade, but me as a creative person, I really enjoy the freedom of making the game look how I want it to, and for pictures and content, it's very, very helpful to me. The next one is from 𝑑𝒓𝒆𝒔𝒄𝒏, and it says, when I won the pony champ, because it was just me. That is so funny. The few times I have won championships are usually when there's not many people doing them. So no shame there. Nobody has to know how many people were in the champ. You still won. You are a champion in all of our hearts. The next one is from Harley Song Night, and it says, my least favorite thing that happened in SSO was when a new player came up to me and they said they were being a bit rude to my friends. She ended up just leaving and I was left with that person. They then started asking me really weird questions and just saying confusing things. They eventually started asking me for my personal information, like where I lived, what my in real life name was, and if I would date them. I was nervous about the situation and reported them, and they just disappeared after that, and I've never seen them since. That's all. P.S. I love your vids. First of all, thank you so much. That's so sweet. That is so terrifying. I am so sorry. That is definitely a negative about playing online games. Please be so careful online, and if anybody starts asking you any personal questions, it is absolutely terrifying and so dangerous, and you completely made the right move there by reporting them. Reporting them is the best thing you can do so you can prevent other players from also experiencing that. The next one is from Brooke Seagirl, and it says, well, this is more of a funny story on which I can't believe it actually happened, but back in 2017-19, I found this speed bug and I was using it to train my horses in that glitched race in Epona. If you know, you know. This girl saw me and friended me and asked how I was doing it and offered to buy me star coins. Mind you, oh my goodness, I just flew in the air. Mind you, I was 15 here. So we added each other on Discord and she literally gave me her credit card info so I could buy star coins. I declined that because I wasn't about to steal her credit card. So she just bought me a 5,000 star coin gift card, and then I told her how to do the speed bug and we parted ways. I literally never forget this moment. That is so... I'm just lost for words. I honestly think that is a completely original experience. That person was dedicated to figuring out that speed glitch, I guess. The next one is from 𝑑𝒓𝒂𝒅, and it says, when you're doing a bunch of quests at the GED oil rig or in Dino Valley and they make you ride all the way back just to grab your starter horse for a 2-second moment. That is so true. A lot of the quests in this game are kind of fetch quests where they just send you off to do really pointless and boring things, and it ends up just being really out of the way and inconvenient. The next one is from Dakota Greenwood, and it says, meeting one of my close friends. Shout out to Agata. She is like a little sister to me. We can yap about anything and everything, as well as meeting my club, Dizzy Rabbits. Honestly, the social aspect is my favorite thing in SSO. I love making new connections. Oh my goodness, that was the sweetest thing I've ever heard. I'm so glad that you were able to find such a sweet friend. I can definitely say the same. I've made so many great friends playing this game, and it's definitely, like I said earlier, one of my favorite aspects about the game. The next one is from Kara Blueberry Girl, and it says, there's not enough quests storylines, so basically once you finish all of the quests you have to wait for new ones or the main storyline to be added. I also wish there were more realistic role plays. Oh, I guess everybody is just running in place. I guess we're off to the races over here. I would have to agree about the storyline, but I do feel like that's the case in a lot of games because they can't always be adding these long branches of content. But something I've considered more recently, especially with the news story quests, is the fact that the news story quests are going to feel differently for someone who is still leveling up, whereas for me it was just a quick segment of quests since I've already played through the majority of the story quests. So for somebody else that is just playing the game throughout the way that I did before, it's going to feel a lot more in depth than it is for somebody who's been playing the game for a long time. So the fact that it wasn't a super long quest line doesn't bother me that much, if that makes sense. I hope I'm not confusing anybody. But let me know what you guys think about that. Oh, I'm jumping the wrong jumps. Nobody saw that. The next one says, this happened a few years ago, 2021 to 2022, but I still hold a grudge against them. Basically, me and my friend were in a dressage club, and they were preparing for some type of competition between them and other clubs. During one of the final dressage practices, I accidentally messed up on a move, and they went absolutely ballistic. I got cussed out and kicked out, and then they started attacking my friend because she was friends with me. I was in the club for a good month or two as well. I'm so sorry. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I would have gotten kicked out too. I'm absolutely terrible at dressage. It just stresses me out and I don't have good keyboard skills. You are not alone there, but the fact that they got so angry with you and kicked you out for one mistake is just so sad and so mean. I'm so sorry. And especially after you had been in the club for a little bit too. That is crazy. And the next one, it says, finding out that my English teacher also plays Star Stable and we were in the same server. It was low-key scary,
but also super wholesome.
I would actually have a panic attack, but I also feel like it would be more embarrassing for your English teacher than it would be for you. I have a similar story that still haunts me, but basically I emailed a teacher, but when I emailed them, I didn't realize that I had used my Star Stable email. So I had my username and it was just so humiliating because they were confused on which student it was. And when I had to come clean and tell them who I was after realizing that I had sent it with the wrong email, and that teacher never saw me the same. They were so confused. The next one says, the moment that SSO is changing things with a lot of memories. Also, quests on Pier 13 aren't my favorite. It feels too creepy there. I don't like how you don't have your horse and need to walk everything. That is so true. I totally agree. Pier 13 is so creepy and you don't have your steed for moral support, so it's just, you know, it's definitely overwhelming and it's always really gloomy and just bad vibes over there. As for the memories, I can totally understand that. I personally love the new Star Stable for the most part. Of course there are things I don't like, but I can totally understand that missing the way the game was is so sad and it's really hard, especially when you've grown up playing the game. It is almost like an entirely new game sometimes. The next one says, says the new main quests and how they are made, so much magic and detail, and when I see Jasper dancing, there is no Star Stable without him, and the moment when I explored the new Hollow Woods. It is so beautiful and there's very much gameplay. I totally agree with everything you said. The new cutscenes and animations in the cutscenes were phenomenal. I was so impressed by that, and it did feel a lot more like the vibes that we were missing with the magic side of the game, which I really appreciated. And I totally agree that Jasper is just too iconic to ever forget. If they ever did something to Jasper, I would not forgive this game. And as for Hollow Woods, that is probably one of my favorite areas in the game, and there's a ton of gameplay there with the lights and the gardening, just like you said. I pretty much never leave that area unless I'm training. I'm always in Hollow Woods or Valedale. The next one is from Skylar, Evening Flower, and it says, me and my friends were looking for a flat show to join, and turns out lots of other people were too. Global was being flooded with any flats, but nobody was hosting one. Eventually a girl claimed she was hosting one at Golden Hills, and when we got there she said, oops, I meant South Hook, and we were immediately suspicious because how do you confuse that? We went there anyway, and surprise surprise, she wasn't there. She said, sorry, I actually meant Dundle. I'm so sorry, guys. At this point we knew she had to be trolling, but for some reason we still went there, and she was actually there that time. But then she walked up to us and said, I was getting annoyed with everyone asking for flats in Global, so I made y'all run around the map because I was mad. So long story short, there was no flat and she thought the whole thing was hilarious. Real mature girl. I have had similar experiences with flat shows, especially in my video where I did a million flat shows until I won one. The fact that they made you run all the way there, I would be annoyed too. And you just never know what you're gonna get. You could be getting a regular old flat show, or you could be getting a very calculated prank. You just never know. I've experienced all of the above at this point. The next submission is from Ellie, and it says, a couple years ago when me and my best friend at that time were exploring Wild Woods when it wasn't out yet. Disclaimer, I know you shouldn't do that. I remember running all the way up those hills in Valedale Lake and having to run through the whole area without the horse. It was amazing seeing all those horses and graphics that weren't used as much in game at that time. It's probably one of my favorite memories I have made. We had so much fun exploring and checking the clothes, the different places, and taking pictures. Oh, and can't forget the fails of getting in there, lol. It was so magical at the time, and now no one ever is to be found anymore in there, which is so sad as it's so pretty. Oh my goodness, that is such a nice memory. Exploring new areas with friends is so much fun. That's another reason why I really hope that we get a new area in Star Stable this year. I know they have a lot of other things that they're planning on implementing, but a new area is something that I've been keeping my fingers crossed for. I really agree with you that Wild Woods has been kind of abandoned, but it's so nice there. I love to trailer there and visit every once in a while because it's so peaceful and so magical, and it would be really nice to get some more quests with those Jorvik wild horses. Those were such cool characters. It's such a cool area and has so much potential. I really hope that they implement some more things there in the future. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much to all of you who submitted a response. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.